Good afternoon, this is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding, here to discuss the basics of the eligibility for the Streamlined Filing Compliance Procedures. We get these questions all the time. There's a lot of bad information on the World Wide Web. And we have tons of free information available on Streamlined Procedures. But this is just your basic who is eligible and who is not eligible. So Streamlined Filing Compliance Procedures, otherwise known as SFCP, is used for people, individual trusts and estates, but not corporations per se can't apply, who are non-willful, and you can file original or amended returns if you're Streamlined Foreign, which just means that you qualify as a non-resident in one of the 3 past tax years. Streamlined Domestic allows you to submit amended returns, and then you either pay a 5% penalty if you're Streamlined Domestic, or you get a complete penalty waiver. If you're Streamlined Foreign, there is no penalty on the taxes, the tax liabilities, such as for the voluntary disclosure program or previous OVDP, where they penalized you in addition on depending on how much tax was due. Currently, it's 75% in the highest year. So Streamlined Filing Compliance Procedures. So in order to be eligible, you have to be an individual trust or estate. In other words, if you're a corporation, corporations technically do not apply directly through the Streamlined Procedures. Eligibility under the Streamlined Foreign and Streamlined Domestic are essentially the same, as in they both have to be non-willful. Now, under Streamlined Foreign, you have to show you're a foreign resident, which we have a prior video that explains that. If you're Streamlined Domestic, obviously you don't have the foreign residence requirement. And then if you're Streamlined Foreign, then you don't have to have filed original returns, which is great. You can file the original returns through the program. If it's Streamlined Domestic, they allow you to submit 3 years of amended returns. Another common question we get, who's ineligible, right? Who loses the right to enter the program? So let's go through that briefly. The first one is if you're willful, right? One of the key portions of the program is that you have to show you're non-willful. If you're willful, you can't do it. We've been doing the program ever since it was created. I can't tell you the number of taxpayers who come to us and go, hey, we spoke to Joe or Jane, tax attorney, self-proclaimed expert, and they said if there's just a small amount of unreported income, we can still do it because the IRS never find us. That's incorrect. Yeah, the IRS may never find you, who knows, right? But you technically, the amount of unreported income has nothing to do with the disclosure. There's no de minimis rule. Okay, so if you're willful, you can't do the program. Now, willful is a long and daunting, winding road. It's based on the totality of the circumstance. There's no bright line test. You just have to look at the facts, use the smell test and say, hey, does it look willful or does it look non-willful? Now, what makes it infinitely more complicated is that when you come to willfulness, it's broken down further into things, weasel words they call them, willful blindness or reckless disregard. Like, what does that mean, right? It can mean a million different things to a million different people, and so you just have to look at the facts and look at it and go, hey, do I think someone's going to look at this and think, yeah, this person was non-willful? Or they're going to go, no dice, person is willful, right? Next key issue is if you're under audit. If you're under audit, you lose the right to do the program. Why? Because if you're under audit, you have a responsibility or a duty to tell the agent or examiner about your unreported income, accounts, assets, and investments. You don't get a chance to step back, move over, and submit to the program. Again, if you didn't submit original returns, then typically you won't qualify for Streamlined Domestic, assuming that you had a tax return filing requirement because you met the threshold. Something to talk about with whichever specialist you work with. We always recommend, speak to a couple of different attorneys before deciding who you want to work with. Different attorneys have different strategies. They have different pay structures. They have different, or fee structures, just different ways they do it. You want to make sure that the approach aligns with what you're looking for. There are various different amnesty programs. Not everyone qualifies for Streamline. If you're willful or just can't certify under penalty of perjury that you're non-willful, then you do VDP, which is the Voluntary Disclosure Program. There used to be an offshoot called OVDP, but they got rid of that. So VDP is now used for both domestic and offshore. There's the Streamlined Domestic Offshore Procedures, Streamlined Foreign Offshore Procedures, and then there's non-willful alternatives to that. There's things like the delinquency procedures and reasonable cause. We have lots of free information available on our main website and our sub-websites. you can always reach out and schedule a reduced fee initial consultation if it's appropriate to your situation. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.